I probably shouldn't share this, but I'm going to anyway. On today's Try to Finish Something, I continue to help out the company. Well, that's actually not true. I continue to help out a lot of the employees from the company that I was just let go from. So I have salespeople reaching out to me and employees and a lot of other people saying, hey, I don't know how to do this. Is there any way you can help me? And I've helped every single one of them. I've even jumped on some sales calls to help them sell things. I don't know why. It's just who I am. I'm just trying to be nice. I have nothing against the individuals. Actually, I don't even have anything against the company. It's business. Everybody can choose to run the business the way they want to run it. But I had a partnership with a group of, I'm trying to figure out a way to tell this without sharing too much information. So we had a partnership with a company that did something for the company that I worked for. And they called me up and said, hey, they've made a bunch of changes. Is there any way you could explain to us exactly what's wrong and why we can't do what we used to do before? And so I jumped on a call with them and I said, so these are the things that are wrong. And they said, I have no idea if we're going to be able to relay all that information. We're supposed to do a call with the company that you were just let go from. Is there any way that you could please jump on the call with us and help explain it? And I said, well, who's the call with? And they told me, and I said, well, I don't know them. That's fine. I'll go ahead and jump on the call with you. And the day of the call, I looked at the invite, and there were a lot of people that I knew on that call. And I called up that partnership company. I said, I don't know if I can do this. And they said, well, we'll try and explain it and we'll come to you only if we need to. And I said, yeah, all right, that's fine. So we get on the call and within 5 minutes, I'll pretend I was going to be Jim. So within 5 minutes, the partnership company said, well, I don't know. What do you think, Jim? If I had been smarter, I would have pre-prepared and had some sort of accent or voice or whatever it was that I was going to do. So I immediately launch into this. Well, here's the problem you have. It looks like some of the things that are going wrong are these. And I start explaining all of this. And my 16-year-old daughter says, who are you, Batman? So I do the entire hour-long call as Batman. And at one point, one of the people, oh God, I shouldn't be telling all this stuff. So one of the people on the call say, well, Shawn didn't let us know exactly what things were involved in this, so we're just kind of working at this from in the dark. And I, doing my voice, say, well, did you let Shawn know? How would Shawn know who was going to be using the interface and that you were going to make these changes? And they said, well, we didn't know Shawn was going to be let go either. This was a surprise to all of us. He was a great guy, and I, all of a sudden, as Batman, now am feeling remorse. Shawn always said you were one of the good ones. That's a quote. Yeah. Anyway, so today's build, I have one of my Patreon members who reached out to me, and she's a dungeon master and she plays Dungeons and Dragons and has a character, the Raven Queen, and she wants to do a Mandalorian cosplay using some of the elements from her Dungeons and Dragons character. Sounded interesting to me. She sent me the stuff and I'm going to start on that build today. I'm probably only going to prep the helmet and maybe get a first layer of paint on this. And I'm recording this right now before this video is even done. And I'm betting right now that if you've looked at the little image for this video, there's probably more than one layer of paint because I get obsessive about things. But I'm going to prep a helmet and get one layer of paint on it. That's what I'm gonna do on today's Try to Finish Something. So here I am in front of the door that I built on this channel. My office is back there. The build room is over there. And if you saw my first videos, you saw how clean this room was. But in the beginning, I was doing 2 videos a week, and it's just a lot to edit, and I'm making excuses. My build room has become a disaster, and I have so much work that's going to be done in there. I need to clean this up because the way it is now, there's absolutely no work that can be done in here other than the weekly videos, because I'm only showing a small part of it. So I'm going to show you this as the embarrassment to get me to do something about it. Here we go. Get ready. Oh, this is really embarrassing. So here we go. This is where I normally do my videos. I've got a camera set up. I've got the desk. And I have a lot of things close to me so that I can work on them. But that's no excuse for what's become of this room, because look at all of the crap that is just everywhere. This has got to get some organization. And I've got to make some changes. And that's my goal in the next couple weeks. I've got to change something, because you guys only see this. I have to deal with this. And I hope most of it's trash, but oh my God, I have no idea. Oh, this is embarrassing. All right. Hey, look, there's Odin's helmet. Now, for me, the shame of showing you that will hopefully motivate me for some sort of better organization, but not today. On my tiny clean space, that tiny space that you normally only get to see, not the rest of that, I'm going to start my custom Mandalorian build that I'm doing as a client build. You heard that right. I said client build, like I'm some sort of big-time costume baller, a big-time professional, and I've got a long list of clients. But this helmet was printed by a seller on Etsy called the 3D Ping, and they did a first coat of primer, but you'll see inside the eyes and under the helmet, you can see the layers of the print with the supports. It's like if you were to take a bunch of wrinkled up sheets of paper and then stack them on top of each other, the edges are still going to look like sheets of paper. So what I'm doing is adding Bondo to make it look more solid, mostly in the eyes and around the bottom edge. I know no one will ever see this, but it's one of those things that bug me personally, and I'm going to add some Bondo to the Punisher-like cuts in the front, but I don't think I'm going to sand those with the same precision, since they, in my thoughts, would have been cut into the helmet as an afterthought, as a customization, and wouldn't have the same sort of smooth edge, at least in the way that I am envisioning this helmet. Now, the sanding. I will sand all of my new edges and smooth that out so that it looks like it is one solid piece. So I know it's really hard to tell here since the primer is a flat gray, but I can feel the supports in the helmet with my hand. The paint Malia sent me is gloss, and gloss will bring out any sort of imperfections. And I think what I'm going to try and do is give this whole helmet a full coat of Bondo. And I'm going to do it again using the Van Oaks props technique of adding acetone to Bondo putty to make it like a milkshake-like mix, and then you can easily apply that with a chip brush. As the Bondo dries, the acetone evaporates, and you're left with a thin shell of Bondo. And that's what I'm doing. And more sanding. I think I can still feel the ridges of the underlayer, but it is much, much smoother now. But I am still a little nervous how this is going to look with gloss, and I think I'll be able to hide it. Well, I can pretty much hide anything with weathering, and that will also knock down the shine with a matte finish. And yes, I am still sanding. In case you were curious, I am at 2 hours and 50 minutes, just pretty much in sanding. Let's just call it 3 hours. By the time I use these emery boards to sand some of the hard-to-reach places, I'll definitely be at 3 hours. Now, the emery boards, that was a suggestion by Storm Herald 3D in the comments on my last video. He said he learned it by watching an episode of Tested, and I thought, yeah, I'll give it a try. And hey, speaking of my last video, if you watched it, you saw that I mentioned that I was going to use the funds from my Patreon members to buy an adjustable camera arm. And I think now instead, I'm going to be saving up for a GoPro 8. Frank Thompson, one of my Patreon members, just bought the arm for me so that I could improve these videos. Just outright bought the whole thing. All right, I think this is pretty smooth. I think I'm going to get a layer of gray primer on this and give it another sanding. I was talking to Odin of Odin Makes about cameras, and he said the GoPro 8 and 9 would work best for what I am trying to do. He said the 10s run a little hot, so that is going to be my plan. Anyway, huge thank you to Frank and all of my Patreon members. Their contributions are going to make these videos better for you. All right, this helmet is really smooth, and I didn't go too overboard in the teeth part because I think those should be a little rough. Again, like they were an afterthought. Now, I have a lot of people ask why I try and get the helmet so smooth, since I will texture and weather it, and you'll never actually know. And I actually don't have a good answer for that. I like doing additive weathering, and I like to be able to control where I put it. So I guess that's my answer. So now I've added a layer of black primer, and this will be the layer that I will chip down to. Black will be my base, and I will add a bit of chrome for the parts that should look like they went all the way down to the metal. I have this chrome pin that I've been wanting to try, and I think this will be used for my bare metal parts, like all of the paint was chipped down to the metal. And ooh, look at that. It is really shiny. I'm trying to figure out what I will mask this with, and I'm still out of latex, which is what I want to use, but I think I'm going to try rubber cement, just masking a few spots that I want to see the chrome and the black in some random spots and on some edges. Then the first layer of Malia's actual colors that she sent. Finally, this whole video was about getting here. I said I was going to do one layer of paint and prep, and it's getting very late. Here it is, shiny dark gray. It is very smooth, and it's very shiny. And I do see those diamond patterns of the supports if you look closely at the back. It's mainly in the back, but I think I might be able to hide that. Now I'm just picking off some of the rubber cement, and I like rubber cement as a masking fluid, but it works better with airbrush paints. This gloss enamel paint is being a pain in my Minoc. All right, it looks pretty good. I should just stop right here. All right, maybe I'll mask and add one more color. She sent me 2 shades of purple. I think the darker purple is for the top of the cheek, and the lighter is maybe for the face. Let me mask that and send her a progress picture. All right, dark purple is on, and I'm going to do a little bit of chipping. And don't worry about that sticky tape residue. That will wipe off with a little bit of mineral spirits. Yeah, this layer of masking, I used toothpaste, and it was way easier. And I just sent her the picture, and the cheek, it wasn't supposed to be dark purple. The dark purple was supposed to be for the face. The light purple was for me to find some accent parts on the helmet. The top of the cheek was supposed to be in black. Remember the whole warts talk I had in the last video? Yeah, I screwed this all up. But the good news is more paint will fix it, so it's no big deal. Mask out the part that is really supposed to be dark purple and add some toothpaste for chipping and take this into the garage to paint it. It's still raining outside right now. So I'm going to unmask the purple, and this would have been helpful. These are the sketches that Malia drew as my guide, and I can veer from this, but this is her original idea, and I'd like to stick as close to these sketches as I can. And if I had looked at this earlier, I might not have painted the cheeks the wrong color. Now, I'm going to paint the cheek black, and I'm going to use my airbrush and some airbrush paints. And someone in my Facebook nerd group had asked me to share any tips with electronics that I pick up as I'm going along. And this isn't electronics, but I do have a tip for you. I am new to the airbrush, and this particular airbrush has dual action. If you press down, you get air. And when you pull it back, you get paint, like this. And I've learned from doing it, you should press down to get the air moving first before you introduce paint. You just don't do it all in one motion. Don't push down and pull back all in one stroke. And when you're done with painting your stroke, go back to the no paint, just air, and allow the paint to clear out of the needle. If you don't, you'll get spatter the next time you press down, thinking you're just getting air. See? Learn from the things that I screw up so that you don't have the same issues. Who knew? You were going to get airbrush tips in this video. And I got another tip for you. Actually look at the artwork that was sent to you before you start painting. Look at that. See how helpful I've been?
Okay, both cheeks have a bit of weathering, and they are both the right color, and it is getting really late, so I should just call this finished for now, although I would like to see what it looks like with the dark purple stripe on it, and I have an idea how to add some of her lighter accent purple. If I mask and paint the center stripe purple and then weather that, I could do 2 thinner stripes of lighter purple to start bringing in that accent color. Yeah, all right. Let's see what that's going to look like. I mean, it's only midnight or something, and with that whole daylight savings, does that mean it's 11 or does that mean it's 1? All right, I'm not going to focus on the time. Masking for the thinner stripes. Okay, obsessive masking done, and it's out to the garage for the lighter purple, and I'm going to try and dry that to try and speed and finish this up. I think I really like that. I would love to send her a progress shot, but it's way too late. Let me paint a little bit of chips into this, and all right, I have to stop. I am calling this finished. All right, maybe a little bit of weathering at the brim. All right, I am done. I'm going to bed. It's the next morning and a small break in the storm, and I'm calling the prep and the first layer of paint. Yes, the first layer finished. I really hoped you liked this video, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. If you didn't, as always, just keep it to yourself, and we'll see you next time as we try to finish something.